This week on the News at Rider,
Cranberry Fest kicks off the school year.
two of the country's most famous governors come to campus.
And Riders clubs and organizations recruit new freshmen at Awareness Day.
That and a lot more is coming up right now.
Welcome to the News at Rider. I'm JT Fetch.
And I'm Tara Inkin. Awareness Day helped kick off the fall semester recently as fraternities, clubs, and other student-run organizations gathered to show freshmen and other new Rider students all that was offered on campus for students to get involved in. Reporter Jim Vassell was at the event and got to see all the organizations firsthand.
Hey Rider, we're here in the SRC covering the 2011 Rider University Awareness Day. This annual SGA event invites new and returning students to check out many of the clubs here. As you can see, there's lots to choose from, so come on, let's take a look.
This year's Awareness Day, which was moved inside due to the rain, was jam-packed with over 75 clubs and activities stationed all around the SRC courts. One of the first club representatives I spoke to that day was the Association of Commuting Students President, Mike Lombardo.
How you doing, Mike?
Good, how are you?
Great. Now, tell me about the Association of Commuting Students.
We are the governing body for commuting students, similar to SGA and RHA. We try and get the commuters involved as much as possible. We plan events, we have weekly meetings on September 24th. We're having a block party. We have inflatable slides and a moon bounce and live music and food for everybody. So we try to do stuff like that as much as we can.
I also spoke with the SEC's Community Outreach Chair, Mike O'Brien.
Now, Mike, tell me what role SEC plays in this annual event.
Well, SEC, we're trying to promote our general board, which is going to be meeting Tuesday mornings at 11:30 a.m. It's open to all students who want to come out and help us out with some of the events we're planning. Along that, we've challenged our students to go on this mountain climbing wall, which we are taking to new heights. It's about SEC bringing in the new heights. We're also getting ready to promote our fall concert, which is starring Lupe Fiasco on Friday, November 18th. And we're also going to be helping out with Midnight Madness, which is probably one of our biggest events as well. And we also want people to help out with that as well, so it's open to everyone.
After visiting with some of Rider's fantastic clubs, I had to meet with the man who organized this whole event.
I'm here with Mike Preskrell, SGA Clubs and Organizations Chair. Mike, good to have you with us.
Hey, how you doing?
Great. Now, tell me, Mike, what do you think of this annual event? What makes it so great?
What makes this event special is that it's kind of a way that all the students can come together and find ways that find their interests really to get involved on campus. Kids that are kind of shy and are afraid and don't know what to do, this is a perfect event where guys can come out and they could be like, oh, I'm interested in this or I'm interested in that. It's a really good way to get your name out there and understand what Rider's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And that said, that's why this event is important to students of Rider, especially the new ones.
Yeah, definitely. We try to attract a lot of freshmen by having very spontaneous people, very loud and obnoxious people in there to try to draw attention to themselves and make people that come out of their shell to want to sign up and come to meetings.
Despite the weather moving this year's Awareness Day into the SRC, it's been a fun day full of high hopes of a great school year. From Philosophy Club to all our great sororities, there really is something here for everybody. For the News at Rider, I'm Jim Vassell. Now back to you in the studio.
So, Tara, did you end up going to Awareness Day?
Yes, I did.
And did you sign up for anything? Or?
Yes, I signed up for a sorority and the school newspaper.
Oh, that's cool. Are you going to be writing any specific columns for the newspaper?
So far, not yet. I just hope to get whatever they offer and write about that and hopefully get it published.
Awesome, awesome. All right, now Cranberry Fest is an annual tradition at Rider and one of the hallmarks of the fall semester. Here's reporter Andrew Gray with a recap of the event, as well as some student reaction.
Rider's 33rd annual Cranberry Fest took place on Tuesday, September 13th on the campus mall. Included in the festivities were a live band, more than enough food to go around, games, and a special appearance from Andrew J. Rider, the founder of Rider University. Okay, that's not the real Andrew J. Rider, but that is an impersonator who was there to tell the story of how it all began. Hundreds of students took some time out of their day to head over to Cranberry Fest to enjoy the great weather, eat some delicious food, and kick off the fall 2011 semester with a bang. Thankfully, we were able to catch up with event planner Nicholas Barbati, who was able to tell us a little more about Cranberry Fest.
Well, Cranberry Fest is our first traditional event of the school year, and really what it does is it's the first ceremony where we all come together. The students, faculty, and staff come together to celebrate the kickoff of the school year, and really what we do today is celebrate our heritage.
We were also able to pull some students aside to get their opinions on just what makes Cranberry Fest such a fun event.
Cranberry Fest is pretty cool because it's just like everyone on campus is coming together, and I mean, it's nice out. That's like a bonus, and it's just good food. Just a really great time to socialize and stuff.
The band is really cool. I got some kettle corn, so it's a great day.
That's a wrap on Cranberry Fest. Now, back to the studio.
Did you go to Cranberry Fest this year?
I didn't. The only time I went is actually when I first transferred here when I was a sophomore. But I know you went. How was it?
Yes, it was a beautiful day, and there was a lot of students there getting involved with all the activities that they had, and the food was delicious.
And most importantly, it was free.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
Good, so definitely go back to that next year. Now, two of the GOP's most popular governors gathered on Rider's campus recently, where they spoke about issues and also took some questions from Rider students. I got the chance to attend the event and also speak to some of those students. On September 22nd, Rider's Repovich Institute for New Jersey Politics hosted two of the Republican Party's rising stars, New Jersey's own Chris Christie and Indiana's Mitch Daniels, for a conversation in the BLC Theater. Introduced to the crowd as a dynamic duo, they both touted their reduction of government spending, and Christie commented on his strained relationships with the Garden State's teachers' unions.
I'm willing to repair a relationship that's willing to be productive. You know, I mean, I could go there and act,
That applause break was the first of several from the seemingly friendly crowd. However, soon after, Christie clarified his stance on the unions.
When they're ready to come forward and be participants in meaningful reform that will improve especially urban educational opportunities for our kids, then I'm willing to sit at the table with them anytime. They want to continue to pass on to me warmed over protections of a failed status quo, then they can continue to stand outside my office and look in the window.
Daniels was on hand not only to talk about reducing government spending, but also to promote his book, Keeping the Republic, which he references here when talking about construction increases in Indiana.
I said, you know, we're going to have to get a couple times that before I'm going to go through this. We got 3 times that. The rest is history. We're building at record rates. Our construction budget in Indiana this year is 3 times the historical run rate. And it's a great time to be building stuff, by the way, because nobody else is, and we're getting great prices.
Christie and Daniels also both said they will not be running for president in 2012. Christie elaborated on the personal reasons why he chose not to run.
They're doing that, so it's got to be something that you and your family really believes is not only the right thing to do, but I think what you must do at that time in your life, both for you and for your country. And for me, the answer to that was it isn't. And if you don't feel that, you know, deeply in your heart that it is, then you have no business asking anybody for their money or their vote. And that's why I said, you know, no.
Now, what did you think of this event?
Actually, it was really interesting. I was really impressed that Rider was able to get these two very famous governors in a room together for more than an hour, taking questions and talking about issues. But as I said in the package, we spoke to a lot of students there, and the most important issue to them, and you know, you'll probably agree, is getting a job after they graduate.
Yeah, that is hard.
It's so hard for people that have had jobs for years to even, you know, they've been laid off and then they go and try to get a job and they're competing with these young people. So for government to find out a solution to that, I think is the most important thing that these young people
I agree.
And now I do think it's time for sports, and we're going to toss it over to Jim and Ashley right now.
Thanks, JT. I'm Jim Vassell.
And I'm Ashley Monhan, and it's time for the latest in Rider sports news. The men's tennis team had a rough match against Lafayette, where they were defeated 7-0. A combination of singles and doubles matches unfortunately led to the Bronx loss.
The men's tennis team kicked off the 2011 season with a home opener against Lafayette College. The Bronx looked to improve on their 2-19 season a year ago, but they started this year the same way they started last year, with a 7-0 sweep at the hands of Lafayette. Coach Ed Torres applauded freshman Steve Brand's day, Brand split his first 2 sets before losing the tiebreaker, and also came close to winning a doubles match with junior Drew Laverty. The Bronx got most of their letter winners back from last season, losing only 3 while retaining 10. After another 7-0 loss against Fairfield, the team will try and snap their losing streak at home in a MAC conference game against Marist on September 28th. That's all for men's tennis this week. Now back to the studio.
So Steve Brand looks like a really promising freshman. However, after that singles match, he might need a little more work. What do you think, Jim?
I completely agree with you. Steve is very promising. He's a really athletic guy. I really like his work ethic and his athletic ability. But one thing we have to remember, he's a freshman. He still has a lot of time to learn and develop the game of tennis. I say by his junior year, he's going to be a dominant force for Rider men's tennis.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot from him and definitely a lot from Rider and Lafayette. They're going to be having an intense rivalry this year, definitely.
The Lady Bronx defeated Temple 5-0 in what was surely a riveting soccer game. We now go to Mike Peterson with all the coverage.
Hi, I'm Mike O'Brien reporting for the News at Rider, coming to you from the new Ben Cohen Field, where tonight the Rider women's soccer team looks to continue their impressive start to the 2011 season against the Temple Owls.
The Rider women's soccer team came out dominating against Temple. In the first half, sophomore Bridget Burkowski scored the game's first goal at 7 minutes mark. The Bronx scored 2 goals in a span of 32 seconds, which included a goal from junior Abby Cottenham. The first 2 she would score in the game from sophomore Jody Sokol, who came into the game as a substitute. For Cottenham, she has now scored 7 goals, which leads all the players in the MAC Conference. Recently moved into 4th place on the all-time scoring list with 15 goals, was recently named MAC Player of the Week for the 2nd time this season. The team continues to play at home in the upcoming weekend against Delaware State and Holy Cross. Reporting for the News at Rider, I'm Mike Peterson.
So Ashley, the Lady Bronx really dominated out there against Temple. And I'd like to point out junior forward Abby Cottenham scored 2 goals in a 5-0 match.
She's great. I mean, she's an excellent forward, an excellent player, and last year she actually led the team in goals scored. And I think the way she played in the game, it shows that she wants to do it again this year, definitely. She's just a great player, a great leader, and we're going to see so much from her this year. Although the original game was canceled, which might have changed the outcome of the match, the women's tennis team fell to Manhattan in a rough season opener. Kevin Whitehead spoke with Coach Ed Torres about the upcoming season and what happens when a game is rained out.
Today the story wasn't Rider University's women's tennis team, rather it was Mother Nature. And today's match versus St. Peter's College was canceled.
With overcast skies looming over the courts Thursday afternoon, Coach Ed Torres had to make his own forecast.
So the first thing I did then, I called the coach. I called the St. Peter's coach, and we discussed the possibility of a rainout. So I got a hold of him again at noon. The weather report had not changed, so at noontime we decided to reschedule it.
Puddles across both courts made conditions unsuitable for the Lady Bronx 2011 season opener.
If a match is in progress and it starts to drizzle, the first thing I do if I come out in the court and I take my foot and I rub my foot like I'm doing now, I rub my foot on the court, and if I slide a little bit, automatically I call everybody in.
After many years of experience, Coach Torres knows that the health of his players are more important than the match itself.
This is my 16th year, and I've made mistakes. When I first started years ago, I think it was like 94, 95, I let them play a little too long. Somebody sprained an ankle, somebody pulled a muscle, and I learned by my mistakes. But that's why I pulled them off.
The women's team will now have their home opener on September 27th versus the Monmouth Hawks.
Coach Torres is always going to have the utmost confidence in his players. I'm sure with more practice and hard work, the girls are just going to really shape up to excellence. What do you think?
Absolutely. I have a lot of faith in this Rider women's tennis team. And something I was alluding to before, tennis is a game of precision. And based on what we saw on the film, I don't think Rider played their most precise game of tennis. But it is still early in the season. I mean, I don't think we have any reason to panic. Coach Ed Torres is a great guy. He's a great mentor. I think the Rider women's tennis team will have that precision down pat as the season goes on.
You're absolutely right, Jim. We'll see what the season brings.
For more information on rider sports, go to www.gobronx.com.
And now to Jaleesa with the latest and greatest fashion and entertainment news.
Hey Ryder, I'm Jaleesa James, and it's time to talk fashion. Feathers, feathers everywhere. I know I'm interested to know about this new wing trend. So here's Diana with more on the feathered frenzy.
Hey Ryder Bronx, Diana here, bringing you all the info on the latest trend, feathers. I'll be telling you where you can find feather accessories, who's wearing them in Hollywood, and what students here on campus think about them. Yes, you heard right. Feathers are the thing to wear this fall. From accessories such as hats and jewelry to feather hair extensions, this hot new trend isn't leaving anytime soon. Stores such as Forever 21, Hot Topic, and PacSun have been noticing the increase in demand for feather items, and many of their clothing and accessories for the fall season now include feathers. Even Hollywood has picked up on this nature-inspired trend. Stars such as Kesha and Steven Tyler have been seen rocking feather hair extensions. An episode of Pretty Little Liars featured the show's star Lucy Hale wearing feather extensions, which further sparked their fans' interest in feather accessories. Here's what students around campus had to say about feathers. So, where did you get your feather earrings?
At Forever 21.
And what do you like most about them?
Just that they look nice with what I'm wearing, and I like the way they look.
What do you like about feathers in general?
I like natural looks, and feathers like care to that natural look.
Do you own anything else with feathers on them?
Yes, I have more earrings with feathers, and then I have a shirt with a feather on it.
So where did you get your feather shirt?
I got it at Target for $17, which I thought was an awesome deal.
And why did you choose this shirt?
I chose it because I really like peacocks, and there's like peacock feathers on it because, you know, peacocks are really pretty, so I liked it.
What do you like about feathers in general?
I just think they're really pretty and they're fun to play with because they're really soft, but more that they're really pretty.
And do you have anything else with feathers on it?
I used to have the feather hair extensions, but like I was brushing my hair one day and they fell out. But I like those because it was really cool and, you know, just something fun to put in your hair.
What color feather extensions did you have?
They were red and black, like striped, which looked nice with my red hair.
So now that you're updated on what the latest trends are, why don't you go out and buy some feathers? I did. See you next week.
Speaking of feathers, the crazed phone game Angry Birds has people flocking to their phones every chance they get to play this addicting game. Here's Jim with all the fun flying info on Angry Birds.
Hey Ryder, did you know that over 63 million Americans own a smartphone? It's safe to say that if you own a smartphone, you know about that addicting game called Angry Birds.
Angry Birds was developed by Rovio Software in 2009 and has grown enormously popular. It's even been featured in this commercial for Wonderful Pistachios. Earlier this week, I paid a visit to Lincoln Hall to talk to some of the Ryder students about this one-of-a-kind phone game.
You must have played the game Angry Birds, though.
Definitely, yes.
How good are you at Angry Birds?
I'm alright. First time I tried it, it was kind of hard to get like the feel, but after playing for hours and hours, I eventually got it.
What do you think is the most addicting aspect of Angry Birds?
For me, it's just watching all the debris fly and all the birds like fall. The physics in the game is really appealing to me.
Do you play Angry Birds?
I do.
Everyone says Angry Birds has got to be the most addicting game ever. What do you think about that?
I definitely agree, because if I start playing, I'll probably play for 2 to 3 hours.
Does Angry Birds ever distract you from your college homework?
Every day.
For how long?
Like an hour or 2 hours. I probably don't get all my homework done because I'm playing Angry Birds.
What if I told you that 350 million people around the world play Angry Birds?
That is a lot of people.
350 million downloads of Angry Birds around the world.
That's just crazy. I don't know what to say.
That's as many people in the world that have diabetes.
Really?
Yes. I
never knew that.
That's some pretty interesting stuff. According to CNN Money, Rovio Software is scheduled to make over $1 million a month from Angry Birds alone. This is a true cultural phenomenon, and it looks like it's here to stay. For the News at Ryder, I'm Jim Vassell.
Last but not least, the movie of the week is The Help. Now, The Help is centered in Jackson, Mississippi of 1962. It basically displays the average life of a housemaid in Mississippi. And today, actually, we have a piece of the trailer for you to better understand what the movie's about.
I got a job today, writing for the Jackson Journal.
Write my obituary. Charlotte Phelan, dead. Her daughter, still single.
Did the Home Health Sanitation Initiative.
The what?
A bill that requires every white home to have a separate bathroom for the help.
Maybe we should just build you a bathroom outside, Haley.
Minnie, are you in there?
You are fired! I'd like to write something from the point of view of the help.
I want to interview you.
Courage isn't just about being brave. It's about overcoming fear and daring to do what is right for your fellow man.
I'm gonna help with your stories. We all are.
Y'all brought me into this, but I'm gonna finish it.
Have you lost your mind?
No, ma'am, but you about to.
Now, today I have a Newsnet writer reporter with me, Sabrina Safran, to discuss the movie. So what did you think about the movie?
I absolutely loved the movie, despite how controversial it is. And I think it's important that our generation, the young generation, sees it today, because we've all learned about it in school and reading about it generation after generation. Of course, you know what happened and how severe the racism was in that time, but it's another thing to totally see it on a big screen, especially. So I think it was really good that this movie came out, especially now.
You know, one thing I was definitely happy about, it's one of the more cleaner civil rights movies that I've seen.
Absolutely.
So basically it's targeted to a larger audience instead of just people that were older.
Right.
So I was very happy to know that there's something out there that kids could watch and understand what was going on during that time period down south.
Yes, it's very family oriented, and I think it's important that kids should see it too, because it's important to remember the past and to know our history.
Exactly. So one of the main characters, Skeeter, obviously she's more witty, she's a feminist, and she's not afraid of what people have to think about her and what she has to say. What do you feel about Skeeter?
I love Skeeter. I think it takes a lot of courage, especially in that time, to stand up to everything that you've ever grown up around and kind of go against the, you know, typical, stereotypical, you know, Caucasian female socialite society. So I think for her to, you know, have the desire to write such a controversial book, even though in the movie it was anonymous, I think that, you know, it took courage and it definitely opened people's eyes.
I think a lot of that came from her respect for her maid Constantine growing up.
Absolutely.
I know in one argument, in one scene with her mother, she told her mother that Constantine raised me. And I think that's why she looks at the maids the way she does. She loved Constantine, and she felt like other people should love their maids too. How do you feel about Constantine?
I think that Constantine definitely played a big part, played a major role in her mentality when she was growing up, because it's almost as if Constantine, and not just Constantine, but all the other African-American maids in all these Caucasian households, I feel as though they're more of, you know, the mothers and, you know, of these children. I mean, their mothers barely ever see their children. They just, you know, hand their children off to the maids. So, you know, I feel like, of course, the child is going to grow to love the person that gives them the most attention and shows them love.
And I feel like that one scene where the mother actually kicks Constantine and her daughter out of the house.
Oh, my goodness.
I think that's one of the more difficult scenes to deal with. How did you react to it?
Let me tell you, that scene made me cry my eyes out. I mean, I was crying and laughing and, you know, getting flustered, all these different emotions throughout the entire movie, but that particular scene really got to me, because it, you know, it hurt to see someone that, especially, you know, a lot of people can relate to Skeeter being able to stand up for herself. To see someone that Skeeter loves so much get completely shut out of their household, and her mother acted as if she didn't even know Constantine after all the things Constantine and her daughter Rachel have done for the family. So
that
it hurt.
just shows you how the maids were treated.
Oh,
and if
poorly.
you want to talk about, you know, Skeeter's mother, we can talk about Hilly.
Oh.
Hilly's one of the more disrespectful characters in the movies. What was your reaction to her?
Well, the fact that she's the ringleader of this, you know, feminists, or not feminists, but socialist society, just the typical racist Caucasian woman. It really, really, you know, got to me. It got under my skin. Really, I think it pushed a lot of people's buttons, because now we're in a day and age where, you know, our country, not just like the South in particular, but our whole country has been more united than ever in terms of equality and not being racist and being judgmental. But in that time, I guess, because it was just a different time period than now, than what we're used to seeing, it just really struck a nerve.
But one scene I'm happy about, of course, is Minnie, one of the maids who actually gets her revenge.
Yes.
Were you happy after that?
I was laughing even after the movie was over. Let me tell you, that scene where she,
is kind enough to bake Miss Hilly a nice little pie.
Exactly, full of her own human waste.
Yes.
I feel like that is one of the most, the best revenge you can get on somebody after being disrespected and ridiculed after so long.
And I think the best part about that scene, Miss Hilly did not have one slice. She had 2 slices of that pie. 2 slices, and she loved every bite. Every
so
bite.
Excited.
What revenge.
I know, it was great. And actually, my favorite part was when Skeeter was told to go to Abeeline's house, one of the maids.
Yes.
And her house was basically filled with other maids that wanted to help her write the book. I feel like that was a point in the movie where you finally felt like something great was going to happen for them and change was actually going to happen.
There is hope.
Exactly.
I mean, for the longest time, though the country evolves, the United States evolves throughout each generation, I feel as though, in that time, it was definitely rough, especially for African American women working as maids. And to see, someone on the other side go to them and be like, I care about what you think. What you say matters. It really, it really showed that there is potential for them to be heard and for change to happen.
Exactly.
So,
it inspired some hope for them.
It is very
it's definitely
inspiring.
a must-see movie.
Yes.
Tune in next week for next week's Movie of the Week. Now back to Ashley.
And the last thing we have for you guys this week is weather. Here's Milvian with the latest and upcoming week's forecast.
Thanks, Ashley. You might want to grab an umbrella this weekend. Friday's going to be partly cloudy with showers throughout the day with a high of 72 degrees and a low of 67 in the evening. Saturday's going to be a bit similar with scattered showers throughout the day with temperatures that can reach up to about 76 degrees. Now there's a slight chance that it will rain on Sunday. However, I still advise that you keep an umbrella handy. Now let's take a look for the weather for the rest of the week. Monday and Tuesday is going to be isolated T-storms with a high of 76 to 77 degrees. Now there's going to be a few showers on Wednesday that temperatures can reach up to about 75 degrees. Now it's going to be a bit cooler on Thursday and Friday in the low 70s, but on the bright side, it'll be a lot sunnier. That's all for this upcoming week's forecast. Now back to Ashley.
That's all the news we have for you guys this week. We'll see you next time on the News at Ryder.